Hey everybody, I'm JJ Johnson. You're watching Reality Survival. So today I want to talk to you about what I think will be the 10 biggest or most effective sheepdog gangs that we will see develop after a collapse. Um, this is something that I don't hear a lot of people talk about. I hear a whole lot of people talk about the bad guys, but very few people talk about the good guys. And in America here, I think we got a lot of good guys. We got a lot of good guys with guns who aren't going to put up with a lot of lawlessness and all that kind of stuff. And I talked a little bit about that in another video where I said looters will die first. But anyway, so with this, I'm going to go ahead and start into this top 10 kind of thing. And the first one is churches. Churches are a place where there is a lot of camaraderie and a lot of fellowship, and people become very close to one another when they go to church at a place for a long time. Now, before I get too far in this, let me just say that I see America as two separate Americas. There's the America that everybody sees in the media and the news, and that's primarily the urban America, where all the Democrats control the cities and all that kind of stuff. It's high population areas and that kind of thing. And then there's rural America. And I'm really talking about rural America in this video, but some of this might apply to urban America as well. But anyway, so churches. You get to know people really well over a long period of time. A lot of the people in the church, they shoot recreationally together. They do things recreationally together. They work in charities and nonprofits together and stuff like that, and they develop a close bond. It only makes sense that in a time of need and a time of crisis that these people will come together to protect themselves and their families. So, I'm not sure exactly how that's going to come together. It may, be that they use the church as a central location and they try to feed and house people at the church and then defend that one area. That's probably the most likely scenario, but it could be different depending on, if certain members of the church have a better place to go that's further out of town or something like that. That could happen as well. But churches have natural charismatic leadership, and I believe that the pastors of churches and that kind of thing will come together to try to protect the people within their flock, so to speak. So that's the first one. So number two is men's organizations. And this could apply for women's organizations too, but I think it's more likely to apply with men's. I'm talking about things like the VFW, Moose Lodge, Elks Lodge, those kinds of activities, Rotary Club, different things like that. People who've been in these organizations for a long time, they spend time together, they get to know each other, and during hard times, it's very likely that they'll come and gel together as a group. And again, hard to say exactly how this will manifest itself, if they'll try to, hole up at their lodges and things like that, or if they will, individually spread out to the ranches. But it is likely that those people will come together, I think. Number three is first responder groups. I'm talking about policemen, firefighters, EMTs, volunteer firemen, different things like that. Those kinds of people, they train together in tough, stressful situations. They become good friends. And again, when those real life stressful situations come up, it makes sense that those groups are going to rely on each other. The next one is number four, sheriff's deputies. And with this, I'm basically talking about, rural county sheriffs that are in charge of law enforcement within their county. They have the ability to authorize deputizing new people, and so you'll probably see posses form to be able to protect their towns and stuff like that. Groups of people who maybe they've worked on a reserve status as for the deputies or whatever the case may be, but you'll probably see the sheriffs use their ability to deputize people to form groups of, these sheepdog gangs, And when I say gang, I'm meaning it in just as a group of people. That's really all this is. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to behave like an urban city style gang or anything like that. It's just that it's going to be groups of people, in my opinion. Okay, the next one is neighborhood groups, and this is probably going to be organized by location. If you live in a certain, development, your HOA, your little homeowners association group, people that live around each other, they see each other on a regular basis. They've developed a certain amount of trust and they have a certain amount of relationship. And they are very likely to come together based on their geographic location, because it's going to be easier for them to come together, block off some streets, and kind of protect their houses, than it would be to go other places or whatever the case may be. They have a group of people around them that they already are familiar with and stuff like that in a lot of cases. Now, in suburbia, close to the inner cities, this may not so much apply because a lot of people don't know their neighbors. They don't get to know their neighbors. But in a more rural setting, most people do. So, we'll probably see those kinds of people come together to protect themselves as well. Okay, the next one is number 6 is veterans groups. And, this is people who were military buddies, people who spent time serving together. If they live in the same area, you may see them develop, little fire teams or squads or whatever the case may be, to try to put an end to all the bad stuff that's happening around the area. And I'm not necessarily meaning like these are like organized militias or whatever. They're later on the list, but just, veterans, regular everyday veterans, guys who were transportation guys who were, whatever. They could have been cooks. They could have been whatever. They didn't have to necessarily be high-speed guys, and they may not necessarily be really involved in any kind of training or anything right now. But when that stressful time comes, their willingness and their duty to serve is very likely to come back up. And the first people that they're probably going to get together with, if it's not one of these other groups on this list, is people that they've served with. So, and that one's going to be limited to the scope that, people are close together, but anyway. So the next one is militias, the regular militias, the militias, that we have in pretty much all 50 states. Even in states where they're illegal, there's still, a pretty good presence of militia. And they are very likely to step up and be involved in some way or another, as sheepdog units, stuff like that. Okay, let's see. The next one is small towns. And, in rural areas out, say like western Nebraska, Wyoming, and South Dakota, and, places in Colorado, northern Colorado, and stuff like that. I mean, and it could be a lot of different places. Some of these small towns might only have 200 people in them, but those 200 people have lived there all their lives. They know everybody in town. They, they know they can trust each other. They all know their strengths and weaknesses, and who can hunt, and who can shoot, and who can do all this kind of stuff, and they're very likely to come together as well. The next one is even a little more rural, number 9, and that is rural farms and ranches. You may see certain groups of farmers come together to protect their livestock and stuff like that. They may not live close to any town necessarily, but maybe they live all in a valley, and there's several different houses in a valley. Those people will probably come together and organize themselves to be able to defend their livestock, defend their gardens, defend all the things that they have, because they don't want other people coming in and taking it. So I think that's very likely. And the number 10 is active military units. If we're talking about a without rule of law situation where there's no longer, a functioning government, or the government has become extraordinarily tyrannical, and they're doing things that are blatantly against the Constitution and that kind of stuff, declaring martial law or whatever the case may be, then it's extraordinarily likely that active duty military units will not follow those recommendations and those orders, and they will come together to act out against the different things that are happening, whether that be the government or maybe gangs in the city or whatever the case may be. But, again, for all the same reasons that these other groups bond together, active duty military, units are going to do the same thing as well. And we could even throw in Reserve and National Guard into this, into this bunch probably too. But anyway, what would you guys think would be other groups, other sheepdog groups that will just naturally come together in, a post-collapse type situation? Stick that down in the comments below and let me know what you think. As always, guys, I definitely appreciate it when you click the thumbs up button, when you share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. And don't forget to live the 6 Ps. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. Stay safe, guys. Hey, and here is a look at, I don't know, maybe call it product of the week. This is a Survival Essentials seed pack that I recently ordered. It has over 100 different types of seeds, 100 different varieties, plus a free microgreens kit. And it is 100% non-hybrid, 100% non-GMO, and open pollinated. So these are a great thing to have. I will put these in a link in the description down below so you could get yourself some if you haven't gotten them already. But a very good thing to have. So anyway, guys, stay safe, and I will see you again soon.